During a boring office day, two colleagues of mine came up to me and asked me whether I wanted to play Guess the Footsteps game. And I had nothing else going on after work, so I figured to myself, why not? Terry and Hatchet were their names. It was Terry who organized the whole thing, really. Terry took us to a 10-story sized building, and we walked up to the top of the stairs. Terry told me and Hatchet to be quiet for a while. Then we started hearing footsteps coming up the stairs, and the footsteps sounded familiar. They were light but quick, and even the way it echoed reminded me of my mother's footsteps. My mother is dead now. As the footsteps were coming up the stairs, I told Terry and Hatchet, I think it's my mother coming up the stairs. Then, when I saw my mother right in front of me, I was frightened. Terry congratulated me, and my mother, who was supposed to be dead, simply told me, "You shouldn't be in scary places, Marcus." And then she simply started walking down the stairs. Then it was all silence again, and we started to hear more footsteps. "Those footsteps sound like my uncle's footsteps. They are deep and slow, and he used to take me out hunting. He died of cancer last year," Hatchet told us. The footsteps were deep and heavy, and it caused almost a vibration with each step, walking up the stairs. Then a large, tall man arrived at the top of the stairs, and Hatchet couldn't believe it. It was his uncle who died of cancer. "Fancy going hunting, Hatchet?" Hatchet's uncle shouted out to him. Then Hatchet's uncle started going down the stairs, and Hatchet started crying a little. Then, after a couple more minutes of silence, we could hear more footsteps going back up the stairs, and both me and Ratchet couldn't tell whose footsteps they belonged to. Then Terry started to become frightened. Both me and Hatchet knew that Terry knew whose footsteps they belonged to, as they were so quick and tappy, almost like a musical. Then a skinny ballerina was at the top of the stairs, and she shouted out to Terry. "Why did you murder me?" the female ballerina shouted out to Terry. "It was an accident," Terry replied fearsomely. Then she started to go back downstairs, and it went back to silence again. Then we could hear all those deep, large footsteps again, and they sounded like Hatchet's uncle. Hatchet was happy again, and he kept calling out his uncle as the footsteps were going up the stairs. Unfortunately, it wasn't Hatchet's uncle, but a menacing creature pretending to sound like it walked like Hatchet's dead uncle. The creature gripped Hatchet and dragged him down the stairs, and we could hear him screaming all the way down. The game ended.